When I was a kid, if your family could have a car, like your family would be considered super rich. So the first time that my family had a car, it was in 2005. And I still remember the day that my mom called me saying, "Hey, Shim, your dad just bought a car." I was like, no fucking way. No fucking way. I thought that having a car is something that represents that your family is super rich growing up. Because, back in the days, it's impossible for like an ordinary family, like a working class family, to afford a car. 25 years ago, when I was a little kid, all my classmates, they would be living in an apartment like one of those, because all the apartments here were assigned by the government. Because the majority of my classmates, their parents, they were working for a state-owned company in this area. It was very common back then to have this kind of buildings in the city. So once the workers get married, the government will give them a free apartment like those. Probably you're like, oh yeah, like the style of those buildings looks super Soviet. You're not wrong, because the Chinese government copied the exact same thing from the Soviet Union. This part used to be the busiest part of the suburb that I grew up in. I used to think that this is the center of the universe. This is the front of my elementary school. The first time that I learned English, it was when I was in grade 3, inside of this school. Without this school, I wouldn't be able to make videos for you guys. And I wouldn't be able to communicate with you guys. I think for the kids now, they start to learn English from grade 1, but for my generation, it was grade 3. If you look at the windows of those apartment buildings, you can see a lot of iron bars. So a lot of people might think that if China is really that safe, what's the point of putting all those bars outside? Right? So what I can tell you is, when I was a little kid, let's say 20 years ago, China was not this safe. When I was a little kid, like, thieves were pretty wild. They could literally just like enter the first floor or the second floor or the third floor of an apartment building and steal shit. So this is why they have all those bars outside of the rooms, right? And at the same time, you can use those bars as extra storage for your family. So this entire community, this suburb, it doesn't really change much over the last 20 to 25 years. It still looks pretty much the same as when I was a little kid. Every single time when I come back and looking at all those buildings, it just makes me feel sad, because nothing here changed, but I grew up. And in my mind, everything is still stuck in 20 to 25 years ago. I feel like I'm a little kid here. This is why I don't really come back to visit too often. This is a typical Chinese village. And it's like 20 minutes away on foot from the apartment buildings that I showed you guys earlier. It's so empty because it's Chinese New Year. I have no idea what those plants are. Well, there's chicken. My village used to be like 500 meters that way, so it's pretty close. And that's exactly how I learned how to do the chicken clucking, because of the countryside experience. It's me. My village is not here anymore, but I can still show you some details of the village that we have now. I used to live in a village house like that one. Only one floor. I remember back in the days we didn't have like a toilet. We have to shit in a hole. It's nice. They're growing their own vegetables. This part of the country didn't change much over the last 25 years. Still pretty underdeveloped. So when we're talking about China now, everyone thinks of like, you know, tall buildings like Chongqing and stuff. But besides Chongqing, we also have like villages, nice villages like this. You want to battle? Roosters, you want to battle? Probably you're wondering, Shim, what happened to your old village? So the government confiscated the land, and they decided to plant trees on the land to reduce the pollution because there are a lot of factories in this area. So what happened was the government took the land and then they gave us free apartments not far away from the village. So the government built some new apartments and then they were given to people whose land got confiscated. And on top of that, we also got some money back. So the government wouldn't just like, you know, take your land randomly. They would actually take your land and then they would give you free apartments plus some extra money. So this is what's been going on in China over the last 20 years, I think. Usually people would be super happy because most people, they don't want to live in the countryside anyway. So they prefer to get like some new apartments and some extra cash. And if that happened to you, your friends would think that you're lucky because it's extra money. Who doesn't like extra money? Everything didn't change much, but now you can definitely see more houses. 2 floors. The difference between houses in Chinese countryside and in the US is that the houses here, they're made with concrete. We don't have like wooden houses. And almost every household could have a car. So that's nice. Like I said earlier, when I was a kid, if you have a car, it means that you're freaking rich. It's Chinese New Year. You can see all the couplets on the door. Everything looks much better than before, but still the general layout, the general structure looks the same. There is a Christian family living here. You can see Emmanuel and the cross around the Chinese fortune sign. So in China, if you're a Christian, you can also celebrate Chinese New Year, I suppose. You can see a picture of the church as well. Nice. Although I'm not living here anymore, I still have to admit that it's a fantastic experience checking out this area. You know, growing up here, life was much more different from now. But it's always good to know that this part of the city remains pretty much the same as it was 25 years ago.